Hello and welcome to Board Game Royale, where two games fight for the affection of the board game curious. I'm Tiny Umbrella and co-host Marcus Beard.
I'm Joel Windles, alcoholic 80s movie star.
And I'm Glenn White, Gerard Butler's glistening body double.
Well, take a look at what happened. I mean, seriously, £30,000 in 1 month. Joel, Glenn, I can't even believe it. This method has made me.
Marcus, did you get this from that message?
We got an email last week because you put out our email out there, games@bestplay.co, and an expert, a financial expert, told me.
I saw it. You're meant to delete those.
No. It was an official email from an expert. Who said he could make my secondary income more than my primary income.
Experts.
No, this expert, he's a British guy, so you can trust him, and he's got a method of just basically printing money, and I haven't made it yet.
Because this is the binary trading option.
The Brit method.
Getting involved in this.
Yeah, the Brit method. It's all good. Are you telling me it's a scam?
Yeah. Have you given them any of our money?
Moving swiftly on with the episode, Joel, what have you bought this week?
I have bought a game based on Battlestar Galactica, which is a TV show from the mid-2000s and late 70s.
And Glenn?
Well, to stick with this week's theme of TV shows, I've bought... It's probably one of the most memorable best TV shows that anyone... I think it won a lot of awards. Have you seen the TV show Spartacus, Marcus? Spartacus.
I haven't. Who's in it?
Well, it's the bloke from Cold Feet.
John Hannah.
Yeah, that's the one. He's in it.
Sadly, the protagonist is dead now.
I'm afraid I've never seen it.
Well, you're missing out on a real literary masterpiece. And I bought the game Spartacus, based on the TV show Spartacus.
Sounds interesting. Joel?
Yes?
Lead with Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, I shall. Do you remember Xenia, Warrior Princess? The 90s swashbuckling fantasy TV episode?
Yes, she carried around swords.
That was played by Lucy Lawless, who is in Spartacus and Battlestar Galactica. Do I get points for that?
I actually get negative points.
All right. Okay. So listen, this is actually one of my favourite games ever. And I know I say that about quite a lot of things, but this one actually is. It's a real indulgent sort of fetish of mine. I love it. It's got all the aspects of board games that I love. So what is it? Battlestar Galactica is a TV show about humanity's kind of trying to get home. Almost all of humanity has been wiped out by these evil robot Cylons, and about 40,000 of them are left and are drifting looking for Earth. So all of humanity has been condensed to just 40,000 humans on this flotilla through space. That's the premise. But you don't need to like the TV show. You don't even need to have seen the TV show. The idea is there's 4 or 5 or 6 of you sat around and you're just trying to work together to get home. You're all a character aboard a spaceship, and you just need to put together your resources, resolve crises, and somehow make it to Earth. Every go, something will go wrong. There'll be some kind of crisis, there'll be some kind of attack from Cylons, and unless you collaborate and cooperate, you will die and you won't make it to Earth. So it's kind of nice because you start off, everything's great, the ship's all in working order. But as the game goes on, things break, whole areas become out of order, you can't use them anymore. Space fills with Cylons, and it's a real kind of, teamwork, fun exercise that feels just like the show, but just as much fun if you haven't seen it.
Is everyone acting in the same role? Can they do the same things? Or are people pretty specialized?
Yeah, there's 3 types of roles. So one guy's really good at fighting. There's another few characters that are great at fixing ships and, putting stuff back together when they break. And then there's a president that can create new laws if everyone else agrees, an admiral that can throw people in the brig. But actually, I've not been totally honest. Some of the players are Cylons in disguise.
Oh, damn.
Such a twist. But it's really fun. So most of the hidden role games, like the ones we've talked about on here before, are, 10, 20-minute games. This is like a 2-hour epic. And hidden roles aren't normally in games of that serious and strategic. So it's really cool because you're trying to pretend like you're helping out and throwing in resources or saying that you don't have enough at the same time as deliberately sabotaging everything and delighting in the fact that the ship is falling apart around you all.
With the game that long, it feels like someone could work out who the moles are early on, or someone could accidentally let it slip. Does that tend to happen, and does it ruin it or make it better?
Well, there's two things that can happen. So one is that the wrong people get accused, and it's extremely funny. One game I played, there were 5 of us, and 3 of us were in prison. There was only one Cylon, and so this ridiculous thing happened where we couldn't help each other because we were all in prison and no one trusted each other. And in fact, the real Cylon was one of the only 2 players that wasn't in prison.
So how did the ship fare? How did the ship fare with the Cylons out of prison and all the helpful crew members in prison? Did it start to go wrong?
It fell to pieces. Yeah, everything fell to pieces and the humans lost. The other scenario, like you outline, is you do get caught and the suspicion happens. And if things are going really bad for you as an undercover Cylon, you can just play the Cylon card, tell everyone, I'm a Cylon, and you get upgraded with your big old battleship of your own, and you can start doing some powerful attacks. But you've lost your insider secrecy thing that you can do and disrupt things from the inside. So you can play that whenever you like.
It sounds like a blend of all the best features of all the board games we've recommended over the past 6 months, but with the backdrop of a very popular 80s television show, which I've never actually watched, but you've sold it to me somehow, even though I haven't seen it. So it's a positive feeling out of that, Joel.
Yeah, that was the theme, was TV shows you haven't seen that board games are based on.
Yes, so
Next week is the board game of Downton Abbey. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that. I also haven't
seen. It's a great board game.
2 episodes.
There's also Game of Thrones board game. No, I've never seen that either.
There's also an Archers themed version of Twilight. No, not Twilight. What's it called? The Archers. If you ever want to watch that, Trivial Pursuit, the Archers edition.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is it? How updated is it? Because the newest season of The Archers got pretty risky.
Well, if you ever find yourself in the 3 and 10 in Brighton, they have a copy. Check it out.
Oh, I'll get it. Glenn, tell me about the television show Spartacus and the board game which spawned from it.
So, just like you, Marcus, I've never seen Spartacus, so I can only assume it is a sort of brilliant pastiche of what it was like to be around in ancient Rome. And I'm sure there's lots of great writing, and there's a lot of nudity in it by the looks of it. It looks like a cheap version of Game of Thrones, but don't let that put you off. So the game Spartacus, a game of blood and treachery. That's what it says on the box, and it delivers on that. It has some of the stuff Joe was talking about from Battlestar. It doesn't have character roles in the same way, but there's a lot of social interaction. And it's one of those games that you're all against each other and you win by getting the most victory points. I don't know what victory points mean. I don't know how that means you win. But anyway, put that to one side. The game is played out across kind of 3 different rounds that really sum up the theme of the game and maybe the TV show. So your first round is all about, it's called the intrigue round, and it's all about deals and backstabbing. You have all these cards in your hand that you can use on other players to steal their money or to steal some of their warriors or weapons or slaves or whatever they've got. And if you want to do some of the really powerful cards, you need to enlist the help of another player. So you have to kind of convince them to go in with you on a deal. But you can lie about the deal you're trying to get them in on. You can lie about who you're going to target with, and you can try and form these alliances. But they're all very fragile because people are trying to jockey for position because only one person can win. Once you've cleared out of that round, you move into the market round where you buy and sell goods of each other, so you can try and get the best deal or leverage, an earlier alignment you made with someone to get a better deal in the market. And then you move into an auction where you're kind of bidding blindly by putting your hand out full of coins and turning them over to bid on things as you look each other in the eye and try and persuade other people to bid higher than they need to overspend on something or lower. And then the final round, the pièce de résistance of this is the arena, where one player has bidded to be I don't know what the role's called actually, but they're a host of the games, and they're going to host a battle, and they choose 2 other players to go in. And this is where the game gets really messy and dirty, and people start shouting at each other and calling each other names because they can decide who goes in. And sometimes someone wants to go in. They've got a champion warrior that's earning them loads of cash and they want to go in, and maybe they'll even pay to go in. And there's someone else who wants nothing to do with that fight, and you drag them into the arena. Everyone then bets on the outcome. So people are betting on not just who's going to win, but if the other one's going to be decapitated. And at the very end of this battle, so that you move your characters around, as you roll some dice, that kind of thing, they fight. At the end of that, whoever's lost, if they haven't been decapitated, the host gets to do that kind of classic TV when the Caesar stands up and he can put his thumb up or down. Put his thumb down, that warrior is dead. And so you'll get people begging you, please don't kill, he's my only warrior. He's the only thing I've got. I've got no money. I've got this one warrior, and you don't kill him. I'll do anything. I'll help you. I'll help you next round. And you kind of force people into these deals with you. And it's just this game of constantly kind of trying to trust people but not trust people. When we played before, I felt like a bit of an arsehole actually at the end of it. So you have to be ready to do that, because we were playing a game and it was coming down to the end of the game. Someone was about to win. And I said, the only way we can stop them is everyone joins with me, gangs up on them, and we can defeat them. And I outbid them by 1 coin. And granted, this is a game where it was like 25 to 24. We were bidding to be the host. I was the host. And then I immediately betrayed everyone that had just supported me.
I've still not forgotten that, Glenn.
Yeah, I know you haven't. Because I immediately threw Joel into the arena, who had no warriors. I threw someone else into the arena. I bet on them. I made a load of money. And then in the next few turns won again. They all tried to come after me, but I had managed to convince them to give me all their money and a lot of their assets to help make sure that the other guy didn't win. And I stabbed them all in the back. And no one talked to me about an hour afterwards. So, yeah, that was...
It seems to bring out the worst in people, this game.
It kind of does.
Does it make you feel very powerful?
Yeah, it has those moments where, like, the thing about board games is you get to do things that you never get to do in real life. And we all know from watching films, and we all know from doing these things, we have these kind of hero fantasies, these things that are fun to try. It's fun to be the bad guy in a video game from time to time. It's fun to do things you're not supposed to do, especially because you know there are no real consequences. No one actually wants to do horrible things to each other unless you're a horrible person. But in a game, it's a safe environment for you to kind of betray someone and backstab them. And I'm not actually very good at that stuff, because I feel guilty about it for a long time afterwards, because I'm a nice person. But it's fun every now and then to not be.
Do you think the setting of kind of Spartacus and ancient Rome makes a particularly good fit for that kind of game where you're stabbing people in the back?
Totally. It very fits with the idea that you're all these different houses all jockeying for position in that sort of Game of Thrones type way as well, right? It has that. It's just so balanced on a knife edge all the time of who is going to go with you, who is not going to go with you, when do they trust you, when do you not trust them. You have to trust each other a bit sometimes, and that just makes it all the more intense. A lot like when we talked about Secret Hitler before, but without not quite as much deceiving. You don't have to deceive people for an entire game because you're a traitor. You're just all traitors all the time.
So do these games tend to run slightly shorter than something like Battlestar Galactica?
No, this is a long one as well.
Is it?
Afraid. I mean, you can affect the length of the game basically by how many victory points you want it to take for someone to win. So, but it's going to clock in at least an hour or two, I'd say.
So
you have to be ready for the long haul.
You say I may have misunderstood the game, but you say every round there's a bit with an arena, right? Or does the arena only happen once in the game?
No. So every sort of round of the game, there's 3 parts to it. There's a sort of scheming, backstabbing, marketplace, and an arena, and you keep playing those 3 things over and over.
How many arena battles do you tend to have in your board game nights?
Probably, I don't know, 5 or 6, I'd say, somewhere around that.
So it sounds sort of length and kind of conflict-wise quite similar to Battlestar. Similar to Battlestar Galactica.
They're both really bigly games.
Joel, how does
they're both really good games?
I guess I'll let each of you go, but Joel, what ways do you think Battlestar Galactica is sort of almost objectively better in certain parts, in certain like mechanics than Spartacus? What bits do you think really stand out above other games?
They're both very good. I'm going to go with the ability to create stories. So you really do feel like you're all in it together. Obviously, one of you isn't, but I just love the fact that you come away from this epic 2-hour session with, oh my God, can you believe that happened? Or if only he'd helped fix that water treatment plant, we'd have done this. And it's kind of like an anecdote generating machine.
Or an episode generating machine.
Oh my God.
Oh, we found it. We found the nugget. And Glenn, in what ways is Spartacus unique and those uniqueness stand out?
I think the thing with Spartacus is it does have these 3 distinct rounds that are like, it's like this collection of some of the best bits of all other games. You've got these auctions, you've got deals, you've got lying, you've got backstabbing, you've got combat. It's just this like smorgasbord of variety in there, and where I think people enjoy it compared to some of the other games. And one of the challenges in a game like Battlestar is if you don't like lying and having to deceive everyone for the entire game, you can be a bit stuck. Whereas in Spartacus, you only have to lie for a few minutes or not at all. You can just play it completely straight if you want.
I'll be honest, it's time for me to make a decision. And my decision, which has no bearing on anything, as we know, I am not the chief games critic. Spartacus.
You've seen neither show.
I've seen neither show. I've played neither game. And usually we just rate games based on how heavy the box is, and the heavier it is, the higher score it gets.
The better it is, yeah, it's true.
And that means this week it's lucky that Spartacus has a much heavier box than Battlestar Galactica, as it is my favorite game that I've heard explained to me in this podcast.
Do you know, Marcus, the highest game we've ever rated based on that method? It's Snakes and Leaders. Snakes and Lead.
Glenn,
cut that out.
Yeah, I'll snip that right out. Good thing I love that game so much because we've already done a gist and a recommendation on it. And also good, the game is actually, we didn't talk about it, but the game is quite visually appealing from what I saw. It does.
What's going on about visually appealing?
Yeah, he loves it. He loves the visual.
I love it.
It's mostly just streams to the TV show, I think.
Oh, is it?
But visually appealing TV show.
Yeah, it's always very, very aesthetic.
Blood and sand.
But Battlestar Galactica sounds very interesting, and it sounds something I'd like to play because I'm into that sort of whole, like you said, episode generation, half role playing kind of feel. So maybe we can explore that in a future article or gist if we can condense it down somehow. But that's good.
All right. Well played, Glenn.
Yes. Finally, after being trumped 3 times in a row, I get my own back. I just don't know how you did that. I don't know how you won so many times. I think I put such a good argument forward every week.
Old-fashioned, honest preparation.
Yeah, I guess, I'm bringing my A game now.
So thanks for listening to Board Game Royale this week. We'll be back here every week with 2 new games, explained, discussed, and 1 crowned champion in just 15 minutes. If you're enjoying this show, the chances are you would also enjoy the articles and lists that we've got on our website, which is called bestplay.co. And also, if you like the podcast and you want other people to hear about it, which we do because that helps us out, go to iTunes and leave us a review and a rating. That hits us up the charts. And there aren't many podcasts about board games, sort of just telling them we'd like to reach more people so that you have more people to play with. So please do that, and it will really help us out. But also go into our social channels.
We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. The easiest thing to do is just go to bestplayer.co and you can see links to all of them. And you should follow all of them because we actually post some sort of different content to each of them often. And there's really good conversations on our Facebook and Twitter as well, so you can join in with those.
Or you can email us with your questions or games requests, or if you're a single lady in our area and want to play board games with us, it's games@bestplay.co.
So until next time, I'm Marcus Beard.
I'm Glenn White.
And I'm Joe Windows.
And that's how I got my balance to £284,000. Cool.
Are people even going to get the reference?
No, they won't. But it depends just how much porn they watch, doesn't it, really?
It also comes up on Pirate Football Stream,
Yeah.
Marcus.